And today I'm going to be explaining to you the three main personality types that I've seen so you can figure out where you fit in. And I'm going to be telling you the strengths, weaknesses, and tips that you can use to maximize depending on your personality. Because I feel like a lot of the times when we're in sales and we're feeling fatigued and we're feeling like burnt out and we're feeling bored, we're feeling like we're not going to make it, maybe this is not for me, it's because we're trying to be like somebody we're not. We're trying to be like maybe our coworker that's over there closing a lot of deals and they have their own system and process, and we're trying to be like them, and we forget about who we are and it doesn't feel natural to us. So we're just like, this is not for me. But I promise you that if you can figure out your personality type and your strengths and your weaknesses within that personality type, you can maximize. You don't have to change your personality to win in sales. The first personality that I want to get into are the relationship builder personality. So if you are this person, usually you're very warm, you're very empathetic, you're most likely an introvert, you're a great listener, you get people to open up to you naturally, people trust you naturally, people just end up telling you all kinds of crazy stories over the phone because you're just that person that they can lean on and they feel your support and they trust you. And these type of people, they're very, like I said, they're very good at communicating and they're great listeners and all that. They're sometimes too nice to people to where they're not pushy enough to get the sale. So that's their number one weakness is that they offer all this great building rapport. They build the connection. They're on the phone laughing, chit chatting, getting the customer. If you fit this personality of relationship building, you value connection over closing. So getting the close is not your top priority. You genuinely like to help people and you like to offer your services to them. But when it gets to asking for payment information or like, anything like that, you kind of feel awkward and you kind of feel like you're going to let them decide. You're going to let them, tell you when they're going to call you back. And you can fit your schedule around them and you're very selfless. That's the word. You're very selfless and you want to focus everything on them and kind of like people please them. And I feel like that's a big weakness that you have is that you're too nice to these customers because customers will lie to you and they'll take up all your time and they'll use you as a trauma dump or like a how do I want to say, like they'll trauma dump on you, and then they'll be like, well, you know what, I have to think about it, or like, oh, you know what, call me tomorrow, and then they go with another agent that's ready, that's a shark that it's gonna get the sale. So have you ever experienced that in your, if you're this personality type, have you ever experienced that where you had this great connection with somebody, you were chit-chatting it up, laughing it up, and you were just, spending an hour or more on the phone with them. And then in the end, they're like, yeah, I need to think about it. Or like, I don't know, call me tomorrow. Or like, yeah, let's do this tomorrow. And they never answer again. Or they go with somebody else. Well, that hurts, right? Because you're sensitive and you can feel it. So that's one of your weaknesses. And I would say the way you can maximize on your personality trait is that you already are building great rapport with these customers. You don't struggle with that. They open up to you, they trust you. That's great. That's great to start off with. But when it gets to the end and you're asking for the sale, you need to be a little bit more pushy and a little bit like more urgent and create urgency and say, hey, because I care about you, because you're this amazing person to me, you're this amazing customer, I want you to get this set up today. I want you to take advantage of all the discounts that I'm giving you. And I need you to be a little bit more assertive towards the end. You can be yourself in the whole conversation, and plant seeds that you're going to close today, that you're going to bind it today. But towards the end, you have to follow through, even if it feels awkward, because remember, you're trying to help them. You're trying to get them to sign up and ultimately get what you recommended to them. And where you can shine is by asking for referrals and getting referrals. These type of people, if you're in this personality type, they get referrals because you're just that person that people can trust and go to, and they remember you. So ask for the referral, ask for a friend or family that they can recommend to you. I feel like that would be a really good place where you can excel on is your referral system. And when you ask for the clothes also, you can ask for it in a non-pushy way. You don't have to say what's your routing and account number. I'm ready when you are. You can say, does this feel right for you? Does can I set this up for you today? I can help you with that. You can ask for the clothes different ways. And I know a lot of other people will disagree and say, no, you have to ask for it this way. But like I said, if it feels awkward for you, if it feels off, if it feels like it's not like you, then don't do it. Do what feels natural to you. The big takeaway, if you're in this personality trait, is that you don't have to pressure people to get them to close with you, because your consistency and your care and your trust building strategies will get you the close. All right, so personality trait number 2 is the confident go getter. These people are extroverts. They're ready to make a sale. They're coming in pumped every day. They like a challenge. They like to challenge people and overcome objections. They just love, love, love sales, and they're really good at sales. And they're confident, like I said. They recommend stuff to you. They sound like they have authority, they're natural leaders. These people are your typical sales agents that you see and that you hear about. And I feel like they do great, but sometimes I do feel like what you can do if you fit in this personality type is you can talk a little bit less, assume a little bit less, and listen a little bit more. Because what I've seen that they do is that sometimes they shine and they win with certain type of customers that like to be sold. There's some people that love to be sold. They eat it up. They eat up, the all the recommendations you're giving them. They eat up that we're top this person in the office, that we're, top agents, that, we have great, like all the details, all the benefits, that we have. They eat it up and they love it. They love to be sold. They do well, especially with like older male. I feel like that's their customer base. It's like older
People that are like that.
male, so they do very well with veterans too. They know how to stroke people's ego and all that. So if you're in this sales personality type, I would say that your weakness is that you need to talk less and listen a little bit more, because it doesn't work with everybody. Some people, they feel your salesy personality and maybe they're turned off by it, and you don't know what you did wrong because it works with everybody else. But these type of people, sometimes they don't like to be sold. They don't like to hear all the blah 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 blah. They just kind of want to like connect with somebody and feel that trust. But sometimes I feel like you struggle with building that trust and you lose customers because of that, which you don't know why. So I would say some tips for you if you're in this personality type is that you can listen a little bit more, talk a little bit less, and yes, you can lead the conversation like you usually do, but ask for feedback. Ask them, do you understand where I'm coming from? Do you understand what I'm saying so far? Do you need me to explain something to you? Just slow down a little bit and don't just assume that they're eating up everything you're telling them, because they might not be. And I feel like just be a little bit more selfless and not so much of an a-hole sometimes if you're in this personality, because I feel like these people can be a little bit of a-hole, and some people love that. Some customers love whenever you're mean to them, and they love whenever you're strict and you're like firm and you're like mean and all that. But like I said, it doesn't work with everybody. But the biggest takeaway I would say if you're in this personality is that your confidence doesn't have to be loud. You can be confident and still be a good listener. You can be confident and, still be empathetic toward people. You can do both. And the third personality type that I've seen in my, experience working in insurance is the educator. So if you're in this personality type, you are smart, you have the good notes, you know exactly what each coverage means, what happens when this happens, the ins and the buts about everything. So what you feel is that you want to translate all that to the customer. You want to make them feel informed. You want them to make an informed decision. You love to explain, you love to teach, you break things down easily. People, they value that. A lot of people, they value your knowledge. And you build authority by what you know and how you explain things. You sound like an expert. Now, I feel like this is really good for you, especially in insurance, because there's a lot of things that we need to explain people don't know about, and they value whenever you teach them these things. They value whenever you explain their coverages because nobody has really sat there and explained to them what each coverage means and how they're going to be covered, right? So whenever you do that, you stand out immediately and they love that. And I feel like that's my type of personality. I'm like a mix of the first and this one, number one and number three. If you're in this personality type, the educator, I feel like your biggest weakness is that you over explain and you make your customers feel like exhausted of too much information. You make them feel like you just gave me so much information, like a crash course on insurance. And now I can't make a decision because I'm so like confused and I'm sucking up all this information. It feels overwhelming. I feel like that's a big flaw that you have and that we need to work on, because you can maximize on this personality trait a lot, because we're in insurance, and the more knowledge you have about a product, you immediately become the expert and you can recommend things. So yeah, the number one thing you can do better is to recommend these coverages for them. So all that knowledge you have about their situation and now about insurance, combine it and come up with two or three simple packages or options that you can offer them, and break it down to them like, hey, look, I personally have these three options for you. I really recommend we go with this one, but ultimately I want to go with over all the options with you so you can choose what you like best and what best fits your budget and your needs. So let's go over number one. So I feel like you can maximize on this personality type by still having all the knowledge, still explaining things, but in a simple way, and break things down, because people their brain doesn't work like your brain. They work differently. They're more simple. They're more, just give them what they need. Don't over explain. Don't over go into, unless you find a customer that loves that. Then yeah, you can relate. There's customers that I've talked to that are really smart, and they love all the details. They love all the like knowledge that you can offer them, and they value that and they go with you because of that. But not everybody is going to be like that. So good phrases you can use with the customer is things like this: based off what you told me, this is the best option for you, or this is what I recommend for you, or if I were you, I would do this, or for my family and friends, I put this coverage on there. I really recommend you get it. So make a lot of recommendations, because you already, like I said, you already sound like the expert because you know everything about everything, in their eyes. So you can just make really good recommendations and they'll eat it up. And a big takeaway for this personality type is that you don't need more information, you just need more confidence in your expertise. So, those are pretty much the three major personality types that I came up with and that I've seen in my experience. Please let me know if one of these fit your personality type, or if you're maybe a mix of two, or you go on and off with one or the other. Let me know. And I do want to say that the best sales agents, they don't have to be loud or pushy. I feel like the best sales agents sell because they're selling in alignment to who they are. And that's my goal for you today, for you to sell in alignment with who you are. Don't try to be somebody else. If you're an introvert, kind, nice, warm person, you're not going to go out there and be the boastful, confident, go-getter, extrovert personality. So that's what I was trying to make you understand in this video. I hope that helps you. And if it does, let me know in the comments, like, subscribe. And yeah, I have a lot of insurance videos, so stay tuned for more.